Welcome back to the show. I'm Ernie. With me, as always, my tag team partner, Jerry Sags, to my Brian Knobs. We're no nasty boys, but we do team like it. Michael.
Hey, what's up?
Breaking news. The Elimination Chamber happened earlier today. I turned it on at noon thinking that it was going to start. Instead, it had started a few hours earlier. So I raced to the start of the show. Roman Reigns defeated Goldberg in about maybe 5 minutes or so with the guillotine. And it was a weird match. Goldberg can't go anymore, man.
And nor should he. He should be somebody's manager or somebody in a rocking chair.
For the next retirement match, he's next.
Stop! He's already dead.
Yeah, Goldberg is, oh my gosh. Even watching him do his entrance and getting all these sparks on him is like, don't do that anymore, dude. You're old. So look, you got stuff on, now you're bleeding. Oh man, you not even made it to the ring and you're bleeding. Your head's bleeding. We can't have that.
Well, Vince was wrestling till what? He was about 70, so Goldberg's got a few more years.
It's different. Totally different. Roman Reigns with the guillotine, just like he's still champion. He's still up there, like
which I'm not surprised.
Universal champion, or even WWE, I guess, for now. Not WWE World Champion, but WWE Universal Champion. He's the longest reigning. After that, the women's elimination match was just a normal match, nothing fancy or glamour about it. The women wore spandex covering their bodies because they're not allowed to show skin out there.
I don't want to have an international incident there.
Oh, man. Liv Morgan wore the same red spandex Britney Spears in the Oops, I Did It Again video, which made me want to live more.
Yeah.
All in all, I really didn't care who won the match, but what's her name? I forgot her name. I don't really. That's how much I cared about this match, really.
Yeah, it was not a
Bianca Belair. There she is.
Oh, okay.
Bianca Belair wins the match. It was the return of Alexa Bliss as well. And it was okay, cool.
Yeah, it was a match. It happened.
Yeah, everybody in spandex and all that.
It happened.
Weird. Becky Lynch defeated Lita.
Yeah, which you kind of expected, but it was still cool. Just anyway.
Twitter wanted a different outcome, but come on, deserving into the road of WrestleMania against the Legend? I don't think so. Come on.
Nah, it was fan service, and it was cool to see Lita, but I mean, I don't think she wants to work any. We don't want to see her hold the title and work 3 times a year either. So,
not again. I skipped through the Drew McIntyre Madcap Moss match. Didn't really care for it. But I did see a tweet of Moss falling on his neck with a Grand Theft Auto wasted meme after it.
Stop! He's already dead.
Hilarious.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at the.
I was like,
I'm not laughing at the guy. I'm laughing at the meme.
I'm laughing at the meme too. It's like skip through it, and then I see this like on Twitter. It's like, oh, all right, cool. I was like trying to get to the live show. It's like, all right. And finally, Brock Lesnar did what we all knew all along was going to do, and just about murdered Austin Theory doing it. Poor Austin got thrown into the Bobby's Lashley pod head first, which knocks Bobby out of the match. And then poor Austin gets an F5 from the top of the pod onto the ground cage, and he's dead. Lesnar wins. I've seen the memes already that Brock Lesnar has defeated all the Black World Champions WWE has ever had.
Oh,
back from The Rock 20 years ago.
Yeah. Is that where we're going?
I guess. To Kofi Kingston in 2019, and Biggie recently, and then Bobby. Mm-hmm. But he did not pin Bobby tonight.
Right. So there you go.
Bobby
goes
was
that
taken
theory.
out of the stretcher. Therefore, the Almighty has yet to be defeated by Brock Lesnar. So we're not going
Right. Yeah. So we don't need to go with that one.
and The Rock is half Samoan. So we're going with that. So he's only beat Kofi Kingston and Big E. He defeated Xavier out of the blue for any freaking match. Xavier Woods from the New Day also, then we can start getting worried. I'm waiting for a meme in a few weeks, just like the Scott Pilgrim meme. Brock Lesnar versus the world.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Even Brock Lesnar versus the world, my money's on Brock.
Oh, goodness.
I'm a mark.
And finally, we got the news that has been a long time coming. And like you said earlier, and a few podcasts ago, we'd be surprised to know who is not in the Hall of Fame. Well, this man has lost, and he is now in it. The dead man himself. Undertaker has been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Who's going to induct him, Vince or Kane? That's the next question.
Ooh, I would go with Kane.
Kane
I'm going to go with Kane. They like each other in real life. It's his fake brother, whatever, kayfabe brother. Vince loves him. I mean, as McMahon can love anybody other than himself. But no, I don't know that they had as. I would see Vince McMahon putting in Austin. I don't necessarily see on-screen link. Like, we know that Vince loves Undertaker, Mark, whatever. No, I don't. I think that Kane and Undertaker had more on-screen chemistry and more on-screen than Vince and Undertaker. I mean, what's your take on it? What's your opinion?
I'd go with Kane.
Vince
would be like, well, he brought him, and then he made sure that he was, protected.
Sure.
That's his guy. That's his go-to guy. If anything, he's the only one that stayed in WWE. Everybody else left. Hogan left. Yeah. Rick Rude left. Macho Man Randy Savage. Well,
Shawn never left.
The entire NWO. Shawn lost his smile.
But he never left. He never went to another organization.
He never left, but he still lost his smile. He still decided to leave.
Yeah. Even Austin did his
Bret Hart left.
He actually left. Yeah.
Geez, Bret Hart actually that was a reason.
Yeah. Well,
Montreal thing. Who else? I feel like mostly everybody in Vince's life.
Everybody's. Yeah.
And they all left.
Although Rock has never wrestled anywhere. I mean, he left for the movies and whatnot, but
he came back.
Yeah,
he came back, but still he did leave. The only one stuck around was Undertaker.
Yeah.
He's been pretty consistent for the years.
Kane too.
Kane also, he never seen Kane after all that elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. I would think. I mean, if we're going on screen, I would say Kane. Of course, yeah. I think Vince probably cares about Undertaker, but on screen, I'm thinking Kane. Quote unquote brother. Do it.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's all the news we have for you. So we finally sat down to watch an actual episode of All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. I know this is mostly a retrospective. Let's say that again. I know this is mostly a retrospective podcast on mostly WWF, WWE stuff. But since we brought it up last week about Cody Rhodes, and I mentioned John Moxley's name a few times, I figured why not watch the episode completely and talk about it on the show. So here we are. It is called All Things Wrestling for a reason. Opening segment of AEW. What did you think of it? CM Punk in the middle of the ring talking about tethered to him, MJF being tethered to him, just like the same way Roddy Piper was tethered to someone else.
When they, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely a WWE mark. I thought it was kind of cool to see CM Punk. I haven't seen him in. Well, actually, I will say the last time, unfortunately, I saw CM Punk and so
Oh my
that was
goodness!
not
You
the
actually saw that?
yeah, that was not the best way to see him. So I was glad to see him back in his glory.
Yeah, you saw him there. I saw him at a Challenge versus Stars champion versus Stars reality TV show
Oh, okay, I
where
never saw
he
that.
was somewhat getting punked by Bananas. And he just called him out on it. He's like, "You're a mark. You're a mark." It's hilarious.
Oh, jeez.
But it's booked AEW Revolution on March 4th. Dog collar match between MJF and CM Punk, just the same way that Roddy Piper and Greg the Hammer Valentine were tethered together. So for that.
Roddy Piper. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. I was gonna say reason in my head before you said that, I wanted JYD, but you're right, it was Valentine. JYD did a match like that with somebody though. Am I incorrect?
Probably against Harley Race.
Okay. All right. But yeah, you're right. Piper and Valentine. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you're right. JYD did a match like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Next match
cool.
didn't really care about the next match at all. Bryan Danielson defeated Lee Moriarty, but no. Hell no. I was more invested in Sabrina the Teenage Witch showing up in the crowd and laughing at the and laughing at the Bryan Danielson cries at the end of Old Yeller sign that the guy was holding.
Which is funny.
Yeah, it is. It's like the total douche now.
Yeah.
I get his heel shtick. His heel persona is really a short dude who doesn't give a fuck, and the guy that he wants to go with there is Jon Moxley, which I'm like, why? All right.
I think he plays a good heel, though. I mean, I think to me he's a better heel than he is a face.
He is. He's a better heel than he is a face. I just can't stand him. I'm like,
okay, well, that's fair. I wasn't a big fan.
Don't really care about this.
Yeah, big fan when he was in WWE. So
Jon Moxley comes out, tells him, ends it with, "I don't stand side by side with anyone unless I bleed with him first." Danielson wants Jon Moxley to join him, and Jon Moxley's like, "You gotta bleed first. You gotta do a Batman versus Superman here. Do you bleed?"
Tell me. Do you bleed? You will.
Sure, definitely going to
good.
be a war during this feud.
It could definitely be good.
Keith Lee debut in AEW was so much better and well hyped than what WWE did on Raw. Just, from this past week. Last week's debut was so much better. And then they do it on Raw and it's all like Bearcat. Like, what? So horrible. Let's not do that anymore. Wardlow versus Sean Spears versus Platinum Max Caster from the Acclaim. I know you're going to love this one. Little old shades of John Cena from back in the day. I'm gonna see if I can find the Max Caster rap.
Oh God. I'll leave that back where you leave that back in 05.
05. It stays there. Don't bring it back.
Yeah.
Well, Max will get over you if they start letting his opponent rap battle him back. And if they start doing that, then no, it's game over. Let him do it rap battle. Let him do it by himself, and then have his opponents be annoyed by it. We don't want him to go the John Cena route. Just enjoy what he does. Have him roast his opponents, and sometimes they get beat by them. I mean, I hate the fact that the match started and immediately goes into commercial break.
Well, why not? That's what do they say? Anything can happen when we're alive.
Yeah. It goes into picture-in-picture, and you just basically miss the entire action. and then it comes back, and it's the ending of the match. Actually, watching it on YouTube, it was actually much better than watching it on TV. Wardlow wins the match and advances to the Face of Revolution ladder match that is set at the pay-per-view. And of course, I was reading the comments on the match on YouTube, and somebody had said Wardlow getting the same treatment that Batista got back in Evolution, which is true. He's getting that Batista push.
Oh, well, I was a big fan back then, so I might have to start paying attention to this.
Yeah, definitely pay attention to that. My favorite AEW female wrestler, Britt Baker, and the addition of Mercedes Martinez, who was an old schooler, like Lucha Underground stuff. And
Okay.
she showed up on NXT. She showed up on the Mae Young Classics a few years back. Unfortunately, she got knocked out on NXT, and then she got a concussion, and then they tell her, it's budget cuts. Which it wasn't. It's kind of like her.
This
Here
was
she's hanging out.
Oh, go ahead. No DQ match.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here she's hanging out with Britt Baker, DMD, my second favorite dentist, next to Isaac Yankum. Couldn't be the first.
Name out of the past.
BDS. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go. When I was watching this segment, I was wondering why Britt was wearing a Cobra Kai shirt, because I have the same one, but the words of the show are cut off. And then since John Kreese shows up, and he does the whole finish her, no mercy. And go to commercial break. You get Melissa Joan Hart and Martin Cove to do a cameo on this episode. Fun.
Which is cool, again, for people our age. Cool.
AEW World Champion interview, Hangman Adam Page. Don't really care about him. I don't. Just don't. He's a basic cowboy, I guess.
Well, he's still like the smoking up. Maybe they're trying to do smoke. No.
I guess. Tony Schiavone about to interview him, but my first favorite Adam decides to get on the mic. He comes out. Adam Cole. Why did I put Adam Page on my notes? Adam Cole doesn't like Schiavone because he likes to interview Cole's girl. So he kicks him out. Like, nope, get out of here. Go away, Schiavone. Next to Cole, Page just looked like a basic cowboy wrestler. Adam Cole just amazed anybody on the microphone. It's true. Like, Adam Cole can talk. Adam Page is just, oh man. I'm calling it right now. Adam Cole, AEW champion by the end of the year.
Tell us a deal.
Champion. Adam Cole, AEW champion by the end of the year.
Okay.
Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish show up to attack Page. Security comes out to help break up the fight, and then the Dark Order comes out to help Page. Way to be late about it. I hated this show so much. Chris Jericho and Jack Swagger, formerly known as Jack Swagger. Jake Hager, formerly known as Jack Swagger. Yeah. Wow. Remember the All-American Jack Swagger.
Not Dutch Mantel. What was he called when he was with Jack Swagger? What called him? Dutch Mantel.
I don't remember Dutchman. I remember him being there. I just don't remember his name.
I forgot what his name was. Yeah, so you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. And Weed the People instead of We the People, because everybody else yelled it. They take on Santana and Ortiz, the Inner Circle fight.
And lost, which I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Jericho
comes out, and the crowd still sings his theme, no matter if he's face or heel. Love that. Love that theme. Every time.
Jericho's always going to be a fan favorite. Unfortunately for him, even being a heel, it's like he can only be so much a heel because he doesn't love Chris Jericho. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My favorite out of the 90s. That was Attitude Era. WCW.
Mm-hmm.
After Santana and Ortiz come out, Eddie Kingston walks out to douse more gas on the fire that he started in being Santana and Ortiz's corner. Um, Truthfully, this was more of a start of a feud between Jericho and Kingston because it's eventually happening. Like they're breaking the inner circle apart. That's done with. Jericho is now going solo. Jake Hager as his partner. Now he's going up against Kingston. It's fine. But this eventually ends the inner circle stable, and calling it right now. It's LAX again. And they can't even call themselves LAX because it's Impact.
Yeah.
Impact owns it. But
Okay, I didn't know.
like last week segment when they were in the ring and talking to each other, and Jericho tells him, "Maybe I got the wrong LAX members." Like, oh wow, way to kick them while they're down, dude. Backstage with Adam Cole, the Young Bucks on one side, and Red Dragon on the other side, comparing how many babies. Oh my God, they're so together. Didn't really pay that much attention to it, except for the ending. He didn't know which way to go. Should he go with Red Dragon, who he's known for years and was part of the NXT Undisputed, or should he go with the Super Click, his other best friend? I hope that I'm right in doing, and it should be booked. Do it.
Go with the Super Click.
Now, here's what I think should happen.
Okay.
Adam Cole hangs out with the Bucks again, but when the time is right, Kenny Omega comes back and hangs, all elite again, the elite.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to want to go after the AEW World Title again, but Adam Cole's standing in the way. So they have another feud, and Adam finally chooses Red Dragon after being thrown out of the elite all those years ago by those three. Smart thing for Adam to do. Smart thing for Adam Cole to do. Just keep
that
it
sounds good.
Under family. So finally, went to the Mercedes versus Thunder Rosa match. No DQ. Oh my gosh, I loved it. John Kreese is in the crowd enjoying this match.
Yeah.
Do you see what Thunder Rosa was wearing?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, no.
Wearing that Bruce Lee yellow and black jumpsuit from Game of Death.
Oh.
Or from the new generation. I remember it from the Uma Thurman Kill Bill.
From Kill Bill, yeah. But no,
Yeah.
Definitely Game of Death. I'll go with Game of Death. You can
Game of Death. Yeah. But like I see John Kreese out there, and then Thunder Rosa comes out with that. Like, oh, that is okay. I see what you guys are doing. Cobra Kai and AEW in the same universe.
Which is cool, yeah.
Good job. Spot of the night that probably wasn't supposed to go like that. Mercedes suplexing Thunder Rosa onto a table outside the ring. That could have gone wrong. And to this day, I still remember how he got powerbombed on a table and his back was cut, and there was a lot of bleeding. So he hit it on Thunder Rosa. It's like, oh man, that sucks.
Well, they got to do something. They got to try to take more and more of that real estate rating. So
The WQ hardcore match isn't that bad, but they made a point in bringing up the Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker in the Lifestyle Unsanctioned match a year ago. And that's because Thunder Rosa will never level up to that match again, even if she tried to do it here. Like, there's never going to be a better Thunder Rosa, or never going to be a better match than that. There was a couple weeks ago, but Thunder Rosa will never live up to that hype again.
Wow. Which, that's rough, though.
If she wins with a driver on top of the chairs, which would probably give WWE another heart attack, and Karen the situation again, how dare they mutilate women like that? This coming from the guys who allowed the Dudley Boys to powerbomb Mae Young from the stage to tables. Great job, guys. Don't tell us what to do. Don't tell other people how to do their matches when you guys have done worse.
Well.
After the match, as a sign of respect, Thunder Rosa picks up Mercedes and the crowd is loving it. Britt Baker comes out with the rest of her squad and asks Sensei Kreese what she should do, and he tells her to finish it. The best way he can do it, finish it. No mercy.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
I was disappointed nobody in the crowd yelled, "Get her a body bag!"
I know, right? You gotta. Well, they're all young. They don't know that reference.
They don't understand that reference. Oh, get her a body bag! It would have been perfect.
Get him a body bag! Yeah! All right.
The Britt Baker squad, Rebel and Jamie Hayter, attacked Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez looking on. And then Britt Baker hands Mercedes a pipe to finish the job. But she hesitates and gets attacked from behind by Jamie Hayter. And it's done. She's no longer in the squad. She can't sit with us anymore.
Yeah, you're wearing sweatpants. You can't sit with us.
Nope. AEW Rampage moved to 7 p.m. to run against Friday Night SmackDown for the first hour. Okay. Let's go with the ratings on that one, see how it went. That was yesterday. Maybe it was just a one-time thing. Maybe, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, because SmackDown, they had a IC title match, if I recall correctly, last night.
In the first hour?
Oh, in the first hour? No. No, I don't. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like so last minute that they probably scrambled. Oh, I think it was tape, wasn't it?
Oh. I 100%.
Because the SmackDown crew was going to Saudi Arabia the next day.
Oh.
That was,
then it probably was, though.
Oh, look at that. There. AEW got on that. Like, no, it's tape. Let's go in there and start at
That's smart.
7 p.m. When they get the ratings back, it's like, you guys came and beat us when you're live. That's funny. TNT Championship, Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. What'd you think of it? Because I loved it.
Like I said, not a big AEW fan just yet. As far as just pure wrestling, I thought it was a good match.
It definitely was. Lots of high spots, lots of Sammy just doing stuff, and then Darby Allin is a good wrestler. I like them both. And this is the main event, too, which I was like, oh, wow, I'm impressed. Sammy wins due to interference from Andrade. Almas, after the match, Matt Hardy runs the best way he can run. Still looks awkward doing it.
That's not
all these years. It's all these years of him running, and then he realized he's old. Yeah, that's not a good look. Matt Hardy. So, what did you think of your first AEW show? The first show you watched?
I would have likened it to a. Did I like it? I liked it, but I'm biased.
Don't hold back.
I thought it was WCW without, or I'm sorry, it was ECW without the hardcore in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you turn from WWE and you turn to the less glossy, but it's like, okay, the allure of ECW was like, okay, it doesn't look anywhere as good as WWF at that time, but it's like, oh my God, they're really killing each other. This was like, it was like
they're really wrestling.
Yeah, but it's ECW if it was PG-13, which is kind of like, So no, I will say this: did I like it? Yes, but I'm not a fan yet. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
I don't think they have the. I think they have better wrestling. I just don't think they have the glitz and glamour yet.
They run 3 shows.
Okay.
One is Elevation. The other, now it's 4 shows. One is Elevation, which is just because they have a lot of people on their roster. The other one is Dark, which you could watch those 2 on YouTube. Okay. Just a bunch of dark matches that you can just check out on YouTube. It's whenever you don't see there, it's like there's a bunch of people there. Brian Pillman's son, Brian Pillman Jr., who looked just like him.
I've seen him, yeah. Right down to the bleach hair.
The Varsity Blondes, as they're called. Taking a throwback from when Stone Cold and Brian Pillman used to tag together. There's that. There's a bunch of other people, and then there's Rampage also, whatever you missed. There's like that third hour of wrestling that, just like Raw is. So there's like 4 shows. So there's a bunch of wrestling content all week. And you're just like, wow, when does it end? But yeah.
That's cool. Variety.
Some of these wrestlers, I do know who they are because I've watched them over the years on other promotions. Ring of Honor, Impact. And like the reason they're there is because they're friends with the Elite guys. So either that or they went to NXT and now they're from NXT like, hey, you got to go. So they show up on AEW, which Tony Khan has now been saying that he can't renew everybody's contract. Well, dude, that's the price you pay for like buying everybody. So now you can't renew it because it costs a lot more money.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes in the weeks to come. Cody Rhodes leaving, and I don't, everybody keeps assuming he's going to WWE, and I'm just like, nah, I don't think so. Like it's like one of those I'll believe when I see it.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, I don't think so.
Like I believe when I see it. Everybody wants him to join up with Miz or just beat a guy that shows up at WrestleMania or come back in that Stardust uniform outfit again.
Yeah.
Which I'm just like, no, why would you do that? But there's a lot of tweets out there from the wrestlers who saw that and they're like, I can't believe this is going on. Either he betrayed AEW or like, okay, cool. More power to him.
Yeah. I mean, if he goes back, he wouldn't be the first. That's the thing. Yeah, right. 20 years ago would have been like, oh my God, how could, like when Bischoff, oh my God. But it's like now everybody ends up going back. It's like Amazon. If you worked at Amazon once, you're going to work there again.
Exactly.
Because they're the only people who will take you back. Assuming you didn't hide a body somewhere, Amazon will take you back in a year. So that's we're in WWE once. As long as you don't,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So.
And that's all the news we have for AEW. Currently, we're on a WrestleMania road trip, driving down the road to number 38 as we take a trip down memory lane and bringing you the classic and our most memorable moments of WrestleMania. Last week, I chose WrestleMania 3 because of 2 matches in particular. One was the first wrestling-related event I ever seen in my life, and that was a historic Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant for the WWE World title. And the second was the most perfect match in all of wrestling, and that was Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. This week, Mike got to choose, but before you reveal which WrestleMania we got to review, let's run down the rules. Okay, so during the show, we will be stating additional facts that you may or may not have known already that we just happen to have come across on the web over the years. At times, we will discuss what happened afterwards to either the feud or the wrestler throughout the year. After we discuss the WrestleMania moment, we will rate it by the card, the roster, what impact did it have on pop culture, and is it rewatchable by giving it a unique rating system, such as how many videotapes out of 10 would we give it, and would we take it with us to school to have our friends watch it during a free class or an elective? If we were still young and in high school, that is. So why don't you go ahead and tell them what you chose and why?
All right. So WrestleMania 5 is actually the first pay-per-view that I ever saw, not live, but rented it from one of the local tape stores at that time, probably 1990. WrestleMania 5 happened in '89, but it was the first one. It was like I said, it was when I started watching wrestling. I was like 5 or 6 years old, so it's always going to have a special place, with me, especially with my love of wrestling. So I had to go with that, and I also think it was actually a good card. So yeah,
Sure. Yeah, it was pretty good. WrestleMania 5 from the Boardwalk Hall, or as they called it back then, Trump Plaza in
yeah,
Atlantic City, New Jersey. This
1989.
was actually longer. 14 matches.
Yeah, it was a
WrestleMania
long
3
one.
was but this was a match longer.
Mm-hmm.
Commentators were Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body
Jesse
Ventura.
Ventura, yeah. Which I think they're a good pair. I think they're
They're
good.
they are a good pair. And then later on, they just disappear from existence.
Yeah.
Let's start off. Let's start off with the WWF Women's Champion Rockin' Robin singing the America the Beautiful.
Oh.
Jesse Ventura said it best. She better keep her day job.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a much better wrestler than she was a singer.
Like, why? I mean, they got a lot of freaking artists for the past 4 WrestleManias. They couldn't get that. Like, all right, who wants to take one for the team this year?
Honestly,
we can't afford anybody else. We already got Trump.
There you go. Now, I'm assuming back then I didn't know this, but looking back at it, I'm thinking maybe it was like it was part of the show, like it was a heel. You know what I mean? Like I think it was part of the. I don't think it was that they couldn't get. I think it was kind of like part of the show. That's where I'm gonna go with that. It's part of the show.
Okay, part of the show it is.
Yeah.
Why don't you run us down the first match?
Oh, so Hercules versus Haku with Bobby the Brain, and so we know what side he was on. Obviously, this was Hercules' pre-Power and Glory days. This match, I think it was a decent match. It was an important match, but it was one of those tests. These were both strong, big guys back then, so I think it was more like a test of strength. See who's the bigger guy, who's the tougher guy. I don't know anything long term, but I think it was kind of important back then because it was kind of cool to see these two guys, bigger than life guys, going after each other. So I don't know. What do you think?
It was Haku is always, man, he's always gonna have like a newsworthy story back there. Like he's a freaking rough guy to fucking fight. A little backstory on the match. Bobby, he didn't need money, and he needed money now. So he sold the Hercules contract to Ted DiBiase, who, upon purchasing said contract, claimed that he had his own slave. He had acquired his slave now.
That's right.
This angered the gods, and Hercules wanted no part of this storyline and said he is no slave. So Herc fought his way to face status by defeating Virgil for his freedom. You heard that right. A white man fought a black man for his right to be free.
For his
freedom. A rich white man. Damn the
It's
rich
wrestling.
white man. It's wrestling. It's Vince. Thank you, Vince, for some intriguing storylines. Later on, Hercules and DiBiase would feud until Survivor Series, where DiBiase pinned and eliminated Herc from the team, which ended in the so-called feud. Herc would focus his attention on his old family member, Bobby Heenan, who was managing Haku, who defeated Harley Race to become the new king of the ring, and thus this match took place. So it's Hercules versus King Haku.
Yep.
It was an okay match, opening, for the show for good reason.
Yeah.
I like Haku better down the line, as later on. Also as Meng in WCW. Why are they keeping Hercules around with all these big guys to go against, yet he's still on the opening card?
Well, but then remember, shortly after this was when he joined Paul Roma in Power and Glory.
Glory, yes, Power and Glory.
With the chain and...
a little swan song from there. I know a lot of matches on this card that could have opened that would have given Herc a much better push than still being in a Heenan storyline. After defeating Kaku from here on out, Hercules just becomes enhancement talent, jobbing, and later goes back to being a heel with
Mm,
Paul Roma.
mm.
Haku continues to be king until mid 1989 when he is defeated by Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Hacksaw Jim Duggan would later be known as King Hacksaw, which is crazy. King Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Later on, Haku and Andre the Giant would be seen as a tag team champions as the Colossal Connection,
Mm.
which that was a good tag team. I liked it.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting pairing. But with this one though, I was happy that Hercules won this one. I was a Hercules fan back then. I thought I didn't think it was an important, like you said, it wasn't anything important. He could have with somebody else, but I think for at that time it was relevant for the time.
Yeah, and then he just, Hercules could have done better. They could have done better with Hercules and all that. I know you were excited for match number 2.
Yeah, Rockers versus Bossman and Akeem with Slick.
Yep.
I still, looking back, I think Akeem now, cultural appropriation.
Of course.
What are you gonna do?
Oh my gosh! I mean, in a even in a friggin' in a card that had Run DMC, Bad News Brown. Why? Who let this happen?
I just gotta ask you one question.
Yes.
If Akeem is from Africa, why is he white?
Oh boy. We don't go around asking people why are they white.
Oh, okay.
So if you're from Africa, why are you white?
Oh my God, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white.
Another tag team that should have been featured later down the card. Even knowing now that Shawn Michaels, Mr. Wrestlemania, I still think this should have been down the line. The Twin Towers were the reason the Mega Power split up and turned Randy heel, so that should have been a reason for them to get a monster push and advance them a few matches before the main event. I love the team dynamics between the Rockers. Even though Shawn Michaels was freaking hung over the night before, which is always news, like every time you hear about it, and because he put it in his book.
Right.
Did they ever get the tag titles? I don't think they before.
No, not before this. This was actually their first WrestleMania.
Of course, but later on, yeah.
Oh, later on. I'm gonna say no.
No. This was also Big Boss Man's first WrestleMania, according to other sites that I just visited.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, because 1989. Yeah, I could see that. I thought it was a pretty match considering, it was your classic little guy versus and Goliath match. Fast movement and everything, and even Monsoon, he would point out the fact that they would hit Hakeem. I think he said he was daydreaming when he was out, waiting for the tag. One thing though that I still, now they say cringy, I guess is the word. I wouldn't have used that myself, but they won. The Twin Towers won, and I call it Akeem won with the belly flop from hell, is what I called it. And then Monsoon, here's the cringy part. Monsoon called it Air Africa.
Yeah.
And I know this is radio, but I'm shaking my head. If you can't hear it, I'm shaking my head really hard. So I'm hoping the listeners can hear that. Air Africa.
And if you can't hear it, I'm putting my hand on my face. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to see this. There was a spot where Sean moves out of the way from Big Boss Man, trying to give him a splash, and you see Boss Man just take it all in the face. He face planted that. It's just hilarious because you see his whole body just flop, and then you see his face next. You're like, that's horrible, man.
That was a good match. I thought it was a fun match.
It was a fun match, especially the fact that HBK and Big Boss Man are their first Wrestlemania.
Mhm.
Akeem as, oh my gosh, I liked him better as One Man Gang. I don't care what anybody says. And then you see freaking Trump in the front row just laughing about it with his other rich people. Just and we even know it's like this is horrible. So later in the year, Big Boss Man splits from the team because Slick was taking credit for everything. That's how heel managers work, my guy. They take credit for everything. Like, don't be new around here. Act like you're you've been here before. Act like you've been here before. Come on. And so you decided to go their separate ways and thus becoming a face. Of course, Akeem continues to be Akeem. Oh, sweet Lord.
Dream.
The African Dream, Air Africa. Later on, Kofi Kingston rekindles that moment with Air Boom.
Yeah.
The Rockers continue to become an awesome tag team by introducing the Iron Man concept in the WWF in a series of matches against the Fabulous Ruby Joes.
Mm-hmm.
They had a series of 5 Iron Man matches that weren't televised and only featured in the house shows. Later that year, they would face the Fabulous Ruby Joes at SummerSlam with Rick Martel and Tito Santana in their corner. And go ahead with the third match. You know how I feel about him.
So the third match, another good match, I think. Man with Virgil, obviously, versus Brutus Beefcake.
Jeez Louise.
Here's a little tidbit that I actually had never heard as many times as I've watched WrestleMania 5 until today. When they announced Brutus Beefcake, they say he's from San Francisco. What was that? Did you know Brutus Beefcake was supposed to be from San Francisco?
I thought he was from Sarasota, Florida. With his
Did they say Sarasota, maybe?
And with his best friend, Like,
all right, maybe it said Sarasota. I thought
where
San Francisco, which would be weird though. Why San Francisco?
Wherever what's his name? Hogan was from. That's where Brutus Beefcake was from. But San Francisco, I don't know. Did they say anything else about San Francisco? Like where in San Francisco?
No, it just sounded like because I didn't hear a state. But now that you say that, though, I guess Sarasota and San Francisco could sound the same when there's a crowd in the background.
Okay.
San Francisco, that's very weird.
They got him from San Francisco. Also, because before this, he was a male stripper. Oh, his gimmick.
Right.
Stripper. So, like, there's a bunch of stuff you freaking do in San Francisco.
Yeah, it could be San Francisco. I just had never known that. So,
like, you go to Hollywood to become an actor, you go to San Francisco to become a stripper. There you go.
Special one.
Yeah, you love this match?
I did like this match. I don't think it was a highly. I thought it was a good match. A couple of things I actually liked it more than anything was the from Ventura that I still to this day I'll use more for fun than anything else is when he win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. I quote that even to this day. I thought it was funny.
I think that's like the quote that was said when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And the match lasted about 5 minutes at least. I could not wait for this match to be over. I never wished someone to be featured in Endeavor before until now in his shows.
Wow.
I mean, everybody gives HBK shit in the 90s for having backstage stroke, but nobody talks about the years prior when it was Hogan running the backstage politics and allowing his best friend to stay on the roster. It was an okay match, but it should have been an opener.
I thought it was kind of sleeper versus sleeper. Like I said, now it doesn't mean anything, but back then, the sleeper versus the sleeper. I also thought, I mean, if you want to get, you know, semi-deep, to me, versus the common man, the whole trope. So I thought that was kind of cool, you know, because like Beefcake is like you're just everyday guy, and you know, obviously $1 Million Man is supposed to be the establishment. So I don't know. I kind of thought that there was some of that going on in that too, which gave it a little bit of relevance. And the fact they both got counted out, and nobody really won, nobody really lost. It was just kind of like meh. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Virgil was there. He played a big part. I think he was probably more the standout of the whole match than anybody.
Virgil always plays a big part, but there's no freaking line for him at conventions. Poor guy.
I was in Maryland at the mall.
I've met him. I've gotten a picture of him doing the $1 Million Dream on me.
Oh, really?
Cool. We've all gotten in line to see what's his face, Mick Foley, and he's like right there in front of that line is him.
Oh no!
Like I'm like looking around, like why can't we move this line? No, we're just gonna be here. All right. Hey, Virgil, how you doing, man?
Oh jeez.
What are you selling? It's like him and the $1 Million Man, and then TVOSky's right next to him, and I'm just like, hey, just do it.
You saw him with $1 Million Man. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I'm like, just do it. He's all like, do what? Do the laugh. We all want to hear the laugh. Like, all right, hold on. And then he throws his throat, and then he does it. I was like, oh shit, yes. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate that. And then Virgil just stands there, like, not even saying anything. It's like, what? You don't do anything, dude. You're his bodyguard. You don't do anything at all. You're just there. And you want us to buy your stuff? Come on.
I thought it was cool. Photographs and pictures.
And I'm just like, you gave me the $1 Million Dream a few years ago, but, you know, I'll print out the picture and you can like it. Virgil was, it was fine.
Yeah.
The next match,
well, and so before you get to the match, about this pay-per-view, especially as a kid, was that it was definitely in that cartoonish era of wrestling, and so when he went to that brunch with the Bushwhackers and they were stuffing their faces, that was funny. I mean,
I know. Yes, it was. Yes, it was funny. I was a mark for the Bushwhackers when I was a child.
They were talking with their mouths full and stuff. Like, as an 8-year-old, 6-year-old kid, it's like, that's funny stuff,
I didn't know any better. I did the whole walking strut thing.
Of course.
I hate it now. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's goofy. But
but this match was too long. Took way too long.
Well, and then that went into the match with the Rougeau brothers and the Bushwhackers. That one back then it was cool. Now it's like, But
oh my god, I can't wait for it to be over. I would have stayed throughout the entire match back then, but now I'm just like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna watch the rest of it, see how it goes. Yeah. It's like, all right, cool. I remember marking out to when they did the battling ram from the head.
Yeah. Which Ventura called
the stomach breaker. Oh my goodness.
That's the funniest thing to me was the stomach breaker. Okay. Like now, obviously then I probably didn't think anything of it. But when I was watching it recently and I'm like, okay, that's never heard that. Other than that, and that I've never heard of anybody using a stomach breaker other than them in that match.
We going to the next match?
Next match. Well, and then remember the part again with the cartoon stuff with Bushwhackers and Sean Mooney. I thought that was kind of funny too. But so the next match, this was a very, and I think you'll agree, Mr. Perfect and Blue Blazer, which was Mr. Perfect's first WrestleMania.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. And it was actually the first time he wore the singlet too. He used to wear just the trunks.
Just the trunk, and then wore the singlet.
Mm-hmm.
It was short. I hated that it was short. I wanted more of this because Blue Blazers was Owen, and
even though we
knowing
time,
we didn't know at the time.
At least we
knowing it now, knowing it now, it's all like, oh man, this match is short. It could have gone longer and like later down in the card as well, but knowing now, like, oh crap, that just ruined it. But back then I was like, who the hell is this guy? Perfect wins via Perfect Plex because he can't do no wrong. Kurt Hennig would go undefeated for another year, which is awesome. Blue Blazer would leave the WWF to tour the world. He would return to the Stampede until it shut down in December of that year and lose to El Connect in a mask versus mask match in Mexico, thus revealing it was Owen Hart. It was Owen Hart all along.
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch! What? It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
One thing that I do remember about this match, which was actually before the match started, did you notice that Mr. Perfect was one of the most trouble with those stairs coming to the ring?
Yeah, I kept seeing those stairs. Like, I wonder how Ultimate Warrior is gonna come down those stairs. Just like running through it, like no. But then,
caught himself. He caught it, but he gave it away though that he almost tripped down one of the stairs, which I guess wouldn't have done too much for Mr. Perfect,
He almost tripped, but he got the perfect save. He got the perfect save. So he did it. He caught himself. He saved himself. What'd you think of the future Hall of Famers on the Celebrity Wing? Run DMC WrestleMania rap.
Watching it, it's cool. I think it was long. Rewatch it, but I thought it was kind of cool that they added that, especially at that time.
The crowd was dead.
Yeah, no, the crowd was not into it.
They didn't appreciate them at all.
No, that's why I say, looking back, it's like, oh wow, that was pretty cool that they did that.
I mean, you saw a few people standing up and clapping and like dancing around to it. It's like, yeah, we know who those people are. They're the ones that like rap. Come on.
Well, and at the same time, you have to figure that, especially back then, pro wrestling fans and rap fans were not necessarily one and the same.
No.
Now maybe it's a little bit more crossover or whatever, but back then it was not to stereotype, but there was definitely a prototype of your average. And having gone to my first live event in the early 90s, I can definitely tell you what people used to say about, your average wrestling fan was probably true back then. And I'll just leave it at that. They weren't rap fans.
They weren't rap fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. They became rap fans, though.
Yeah, well, maybe not those same people, but
who's
not
this
those
rock guy?
Yeah.
Next match.
Powers of Pain with Master Fuji at that time.
Was he Master Fuji?
Yeah. When he turned on Demolition. Remember, he turned on Demolition and joined Powers of Pain. He was actually in the match. It was a 3-on-2 match.
3-on-2 against Demolition, Axe and Smash.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and a handicap match for the tag team titles.
Yeah. He turned on them at Survivor Series.
And then it was enjoyable.
Yeah, I thought it was fun, especially, 3-on-2. Something different. Kind of cool to see a manager getting involved. And, back then as a kid, I didn't know that Mr. Fuji used to be a wrestler. When you're 6-7 years old, you think everybody's just, you see like your parents, you don't imagine your parents were ever kids. So to me, Mr. Fuji was born old. So it's like, oh, look at this old guy. He's wrestling too. I didn't know he used to, used to wrestle when he was younger. So it was kind of cool.
So this was the third tag team match out of the 5, and it was pretty good. Usually we don't see that many tag team matches anymore, or we see them all in one match, or we get the usual 24/7 grab. But back then they were stacked in tag teams, but later on they would split them up and have them go solo. And either one of them would take off or the other would become the Marty Jannetty.
Very subtle.
Hey. It was freaking good, man. I love this match. Kind of became a fan of Demolition through this. Like, let me see more of their matches. Because I know who the Barbarian is. Like, I know who the Warlord is. Like, okay, so Axe and Smash, and then like, oh, Repo Man. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
all right.
No, I did liked that Fuji was involved. I thought it was kind of cool. The wrestling, especially for big guys, I thought it was actually pretty decent wrestling for big guys.
Everybody in the WrestleMania 5 is all big.
Yeah. Well,
all
yeah,
big
back
guys.
then.
I mean, everybody was, except for Shawn Michaels, but either way. The Rockers were just the small guys. No problem. In a world with big guys. Okay. We'll see where you guys land soon. Later in the year, Warlord and Barbarian was split. Fuji sold the contracts. The Barbarian would go to the Heenan family, and Warlord would retain the services of Slick.
Yeah.
Both continued to remain heels, but I think Heenan got the best deal here. Fuji then brought the Orient Express, Pat Tanaka, and Akio Sato. Demolition continued to dominate, and on this night, they became the longest reigning tag team champions, beating the 370-day record held by Valiant Brothers, Jimmy and Johnny. The record would last to 478 days when they lost them to the Brainbusters, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Yay, Horsemen. Yay. Horsemen win gold everywhere they go.
Which to me, I always think of them as WCW guys. I honestly forgot that they were WWF guys.
Yeah, when I first saw this years ago, I'm like, wait, Arn Anderson was here? Cool.
Yeah.
And who's this other guy? Oh, Horseman. Okay. Didn't know anything about Tully until then. Later on, we'll talk about the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, we gotta go. Before we get to them, we'll talk another pretty cool match. Garvin versus Bravo. Rugged Ronnie Garvin versus Johnny Bravo. Okay, start over.
Go ahead.
Okay. So before we get to the Horsemen, let's talk about the next match, which is Rugged Ronnie Garvin versus Dino Bravo. Again, another big man versus big man. They were all big men, but I think these were the biggest of the big men.
Biggest of the big men, and only lasted 3 minutes, which in today's standards would be like a Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar match.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool though. One thing I'm not confused about then, but confused about now, was the fact that they brought out Jimmy Snuka, which reminded me of Rocky 3 when, for some reason, before Rocky fought Clubber Lang. It was like, oh hey, look, it's me. Okay, well anyway, I have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I just didn't see anything. I was like, I didn't really care. I really didn't care for it. It was just like, oh, it's Jimmy Snuka's there. Great.
Okay, cool.
It's an alibi for that later on that night. Like, wait, his girlfriend's dead. Oh no, where was he?
No, there you go.
He was at WrestleMania 5.
That's another. We gotta save that for our own dark side of the ring.
Dark side of the ring. Where was Jimmy Snuka during at this hour?
We all saw
he was at WrestleMania 5.
I've got 1 million witnesses.
See, I showed up. I didn't do anything, but I showed up. Goodness, great. You can see me.
Match. I did like Johnny.
Yeah.
Why?
Ronnie Garvin. Johnny Garvin.
I keep Bravo.
Johnny Bravo. Oh my goodness.
That's what I keep wanting to say.
Well, actually, I'm Johnny.
Johnny Bravo.
We're so used to saying Johnny Bravo that like Dino Bravo was just some guy that Dino Bravo, the wrestler that spins people around, versus Johnny Bravo, the cartoon guy that mama.
So I liked Dino Bravo. I still like Dino Bravo. I also kind of like Ronnie Garvin. Semi-generic for the time, but he was, I thought it was a Dino Bravo fan back then, so I was happy to see that he won this match.
But side suplex. What is that?
Well,
it's like a generic suplex, man.
This was the 80s, though. It was the 80s.
Like,
Those were...
Oh, no. So, wait a minute. If Hogan would have done a side suplex, he would have been done also? And it wasn't just a side suplex. It was a strong side suplex from Dino Bravo, the strongest man in Canada.
DT was like an atomic bomb, so come on now.
DT, because Jake the Snake Roberts had it, and Raven, but Jake Roberts is like it's deadlier from Jake Roberts because he almost gave you a concussion.
Sure. Yeah, I mean you got to figure that Hulk Hogan was the biggest move was a leg drop, and it was the most devastating thing in the world.
It was a strong leg drop. You gotta sell that leg drop just like Shawn Michaels did.
Oh God.
Later in the year, Dino Bravo joins Jimmy Hart's stable. Wrench Martin, I don't even know who that guy was.
Frenchy Martin, yeah.
He's the guy that came out. Whatever. He leaves. He joins Jimmy Hart's stable. Later in the year, he would feud with Greg Valentine and Dino Bravo. No, wait, I'm sorry. Ronnie Garvin, later in the year, would feud with Greg Valentine. Are you done? Rugged Ronnie Garvin, later in the year, would feud with Greg Valentine and Dino Bravo some more, even going as far as to lose in the retirement match. Okay. He then became a WWF referee, often fighting with the people he was feuding with.
Yeah.
Sure. Very. So like, no, you don't. You lose. Sorry. And then those are in the history books, guy. You're 10-0. You're 0-10 against this guy because rugged guy. What is his name again? Ronnie Garvin. Ronnie Garvin decided to be the referee for your match. Storyline wise, you lost a bunch of matches. You don't deserve a title match.
Exactly. It should be.
It should be. The freaking match of the year? I don't really think so, but the Brainbusters, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, with Heenan, Bobby Heenan, who managed everybody.
Yeah,
Bobby Heenan to take on Strikeforce, Rick Martel and Tito Santana. Oh my God, can you believe Rick Martel turned on Tito Santana? I did not see that coming.
You didn't see that coming?
No, that was devastating back then as a kid.
Tito Santana accidentally hits Martel, and then like 4 or 5 minutes later, Martel finally gets up like, screw this, I'm out of here. Pay me, I'm out. Arn Anderson and Tully tag team dynamic.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anything Arn does is just freaking awesome. I never knew until later in life they were part of the most awesome stable in all of pro wrestling, the Four Horsemen. But let's see who the Four Horsemen were when these two were here. So if Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard are here, which were the what? Yeah. So if the Brainbusters, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard were in WWE at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on in WCW? What's going on with the Four Horsemen over there?
Idea who the Four Horsemen were until like the whole feud versus WWF thing. So I couldn't tell you. I was a WWF until like 98.
So without Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard and WCW and in the group, you had maybe would be the B Squad of the Four Horsemen. Ric Flair, J.J. Dillon, Barry Windham, and his brother Kendall Windham.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was just like you kind of took away the enforcers of the group,
you took away the main guys.
the main guys, like the two biggest members of the Beatles, and then you left them with Paul McCartney and the drummer and two other new
Ringo.
guys.
Yeah.
Ringo, Paul McCartney, Ringo, and two other new guys. Like, well, then again, Barry, nah. Like Barry was okay, but nah, I don't see Barry when I think of the Four Horsemen. I see Arn, Tully, Ric Flair, and J.J. Dillon as later on Lex Luger, but we're not going to talk about that.
Well, if we're going to talk about Lex Luger, well, then we can also say Chris Benoit too.
Chris Benoit later on, like, fine. Rick Martel will go on to become the model Rick Martel, and Tito gets the Jannetty treatment with that El Matador. He did get the Jannetty treatment.
He did okay, though. He did pretty good on his own.
El Matador?
I thought so. I liked the kid. I mean, I guess I can say it was goofy, but as a kid,
how you go from being Cuban to you're Mexican now to a Spain bullfighter from Spain. Well, and at the time, I guess they wanted to include the Spanish market because it's AAA and CMLL was going up. So they're like, "Hey, we have a Mexican person also. See,
you gotta get that.
You gotta get that. Let me see. How does it say? The murderer, a bullfighter, the bullfighter. Yes, that's what we'll go with.
And pesos too. So.
Oh, it was an okay match, and then we get the fighting between them two, Tito Santana and Martel. There's no more Strike Force, and we're done.
Well, I told you before, Mark was one of my favorite wrestlers for a while, so I was okay with that.
I was cheering for Martel when he was facing Shawn Michaels. When Shawn Michaels turned into a heel.
Yeah.
So it's like heel versus heel. Who do I choose with Martel?
Well, I was for Martel even when he was the heel when he went against Jake the Snake in that blindfold match. I was still going for Martel, even as a kid. So
the lesser of two evils, Jake the Snake is always going to be evil.
Well, yeah.
Like after knowing what he did to Randy Savage with the snake, and then going back and watching his old stuff, like, I can't cheer for this guy. You already know what he becomes. So like, no, I can't do that.
The Snake, Damien, and Lucifer, the Earthquake.
Oh,
on the back. And that happened on a Saturday or Sunday. It happened on a Superstars. It wasn't anything, if I recall. It happened on,
I'm gonna have to look for that one.
Yeah, because I saw that, so it had to have been on a Saturday or Sunday.
I've never seen it. I gotta look for it online or in the Peacock now.
Wow, maybe even YouTube, where he does, where he would hit the ropes and then do the, that's like he would do his jump. He would like sit on somebody's chest. Earthquake.
Yeah.
He did that on the bag for the snake. And Snake ended up getting a second snake from Damien, and then his second snake was Lucifer.
I never knew that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No, I gotta look for it.
Yeah.
No, but I heard stories that he sat on a snake and but I never knew he got another snake.
Yeah, because that one got squashed. No, it was the first one was Damien, the second one was Lucifer.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Piper's Pit.
Oh, now that that had to be the highlight of the show. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, go ahead.
First thing, so you hear the music play, like, oh, cool, Roddy Piper's coming. Oh, wow, it's Brother Love in a skirt. Okay, cool. Comes out, and you hear Ventura saying like, "Oh, hey, maybe Roddy Piper got beat up by Brother Love. He's laying in somewhere in the back and without any pants on." So just starting from that, it was going to be fun. And then, of course, I didn't know who he was at the time, but Morton Downey Jr. was basically the original Jerry for those times.
Oh, is that what? Because I didn't know who the hell Morton Downey Jr. was.
I didn't know.
Okay.
No, I didn't know. But
Downey, is he related to?
He's not.
No, okay. Just making sure. I was like,
Robert Downey, right? No.
Yeah, I'm just like, is he related to this guy? I was like, no.
Yeah.
All right.
No, because I looked that up a couple times. I'm like, okay, that's weird. But I thought that you can even hear people. I heard when I was watching today, if you're listening, somebody in the this is dumb. I thought
It was.
no, I thought
No, I heard it, but
you heard it.
it's just like, okay, yeah, go for it.
This thing, and I love when he's blowing the smoke in his face. I like the first funny thing was when Roddy Piper asks Brother Love, he's like talking about it's like, oh, the $1 Million Man with his belt, does it turn his waist green like all that fake gold on your hands turns your fingers? I just thought it was the funniest thing because that was like the first. Now they talk about pipe bomb or whatever with all those guys. That to me seemed like the first like breaking kayfabe was really talking crap, So I thought that was
and then Morton Downey getting the coconut to the face treatment.
Yeah, with the fire extinguisher.
Fire extinguisher. It was iconic. Like both things that Roddy Piper has done. Coconut to the face and coconut to the head, and then fire extinguisher on Morton Downey Jr.
The funniest line to me that I'll laugh every time I hear it is when Morton Downey was blowing the smoke in Piper's face. And so, Piper's getting mad and he's like, "You've never had a guest like me." And Morton Downey goes, "No, I did one time. Same thing. Long hair, skirt. Later on, he got picked up at a bar as a transvestite."
Wow.
Can you believe they said that in the 80s on WWF Wrestling? I thought that was I probably didn't understand. But like later on, when I got the video again, like in 2000, whenever, I was like, "Oh my god, that's so funny."
I mean, they had Akeem. Come on.
Yeah, but
they got away with Akeem.
Yeah, it's true.
Get away with like some other stuff, and they did get away with. Now it'd be like, no, you're canceled, dude.
Oh yeah, you can't do that now. Oh my god, can you imagine?
Say that.
And then, yeah, no, they can do that now.
Roddy Piper is back. He was hyped the year before that that was his last match, his swan song, and he goes on to do movies.
Yeah.
Comes back. Yeah, they live. He comes back for this, and then later on at SummerSlam, he shows up, does a few matches on house shows. But is he back? I mean, I wasn't really paying attention to him.
Right, I'm gonna say yes because jumping around. Remember that was that time when he that might have been before match news. Was that before?
Oh, that was WrestleMania next year.
What thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then WrestleMania, was it WrestleMania 7 when Virgil fought the $1 Million Man and Roddy Piper was in his corner? He had a broken leg
and told him to stand up. I think it was WrestleMania 8. I'm not sure.
Was it 8?
Or WrestleMania 7. Yeah, it was WrestleMania 7.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think he was pretty much back at that point. Yeah, he stayed
Okay.
around at least until I don't remember him. He definitely was not at WrestleMania 9, so probably he stayed for a couple more years. Because he wasn't at WrestleMania 9. At least he wasn't on the card anyway. So yeah, but I think he came back for a while after that.
He did. He was doing commentary as well.
That's who. Yeah, right. Yeah, because he did the commentary 7.
Okay.
When what was WrestleMania 7 the one with Hogan versus Slaughter?
Yes.
Yeah, so he did the commentary on that one. I remember he did the commentary for Survivor Series 1990 with the gobbledygooker.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
That was horrible. Next match, Jake Roberts against Andre the Giant with special guest referee Big John Studd. Don't know why Big John Studd was there.
Well, I think that was with him and Andre. They had a whole
like beef from the first WrestleMania,
and just big guys. You know, that was I think they tried to play that up. The fact they were both like giants. Because it seemed like there was more action between John Studd and Andre than there was between.
Yeah, Jake Roberts.
Yeah.
Which felt like a, filler.
Yeah.
But
no,
it was slow. It was slow paced, I don't think the crowd was into it. Later in the year, Jake continues to be a face, using the snake to scare Andre during his matches and give him a heart attack. Andre and Haku become the Colossal Connection. Another match that should have been at the top of the card. And it was kind of long. It wasn't
for
perfect,
what
but
it was.
Like, can Andre go that long without it being Hogan?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it was longer than it, but it was filler, like you said. It was definitely filler.
Another tag team match. I love these
this
tag
was a
team
good
matches.
one, though.
And it's the greatest tag team match. Not the greatest, but my favorite tag team match of the night. The Hart Foundation against Greg Valentine and Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
They weren't Rhythm and Blues at the time.
They were not.
Okay, they weren't yet. So I thought they were Rhythm and Blues, and I just kept saying, it's like, oh, why aren't they called R&B? R&B.
Valentine wasn't wearing his outfit yet.
And Valentine didn't dye his hair black.
Yeah, he didn't have a guitar or anything, no.
They're called out until later in the year when they break up for a bit and go solo. But Jimmy Hart reunites them and dubs them Rhythm and Blues. There's no bad Bret Hart match at all. Jim Neidhart is a freaking enforcer. There's like all big men, and then there's Hart, who is just like excellence of execution. He's there. He's like the tiny guy in a big man's world, and you could tell Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels in the same card. Like the only two guys in there. There's two small guys.
Yeah.
Like later on, these two would hate each other. It was a good match. Really enjoyed it. Every time Hart tags with Jim Neidhart or anything with Hart, and then Jim Neidhart tags with Owen Hart or any of them, the Hart Foundation, it's always a good thing.
This match was kind of cool. The fact that they actually, even though they were the face, they ended up using Jimmy Hart's megaphone to win. Remember, Anvil throws in the megaphone, Bret Hart uses it. They get the 1, 2, 3. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Always. What the hell? Okay.
And Roddy Piper did not come 27. It was just on
Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Rick Rude and the Ultimate Warrior for the
versus
Intercontinental
the
Championship.
Ultimate Warrior with Heenan.
9 minutes and 36 seconds.
Which was
It was
even with the Ultimate Warrior, believe it or not.
Yeah. It has to be Rude because of Rude.
For sure.
I cannot find any bad Rick Rude matches at all.
The fact, wasn't this the match, if I recall, where hits a splash, but it's while on his stomach?
See, those all his finishers are that way, where he goes for the splash and hits them on their back.
Oh, okay. I'm remembering incorrectly. Okay, because I thought it was funny. I'm like, why did he? Okay.
When he did that to Honky Tonk Man, he hit him on his stomach because Honky Tonk would rather see this guy hit him on his stomach than have back pain because of stories that he heard that Ultimate Warrior is unsafe. And this is the reason. This is the reason why after the match, he picks up Bobby Heenan and slams and Heenan just goes down awkwardly, like hurting his back and his neck. And then
he was actually hurt.
Later on. He was actually hurt.
Oh, yeah.
You could tell what era this was based on, Rude's. I'm sorry. You could tell which era we were at based on Rick Rude's hair. How many cans of Aquanet did this guy use for that hair? My God. Oh, Rude went on to lose it. Yeah, too much of that. Rude went on to lose the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam against the Warrior when Roddy Piper interfered on Warrior's behalf. Again, Roddy Piper. Okay. Warrior went on to be the number 2 top guy in the road to WrestleMania, which we all know. After the match, Warrior attacked Bobby Heenan, which he goes on record saying that he hurt his back on a botched spot when Warrior lifted him up and dropped him awkwardly on his side. And later on, he has to face the Red Rooster.
Red Rooster.
Horrible as well.
Short. Oh.
For that reason alone. It was short because he's all like, "No, I can't fight. I'm hurt." So they had him shorten it up. It's probably going to be like another minute or so. These last 2 matches were not even at all anything. Why are they there?
Yeah, bad news.
Bad News Brown versus King Jim Duggan.
Okay.
Well, later on in the fucking thing. Why was this match late in the card and this short?
Yeah, maybe just to kind of to set up for the main event. Follow the main event. They didn't want to have Rick Rude Warrior and then the main event. They didn't want to have the Foundation or and Honky Tonk and that. So maybe they figure, well, let's give them this stuff. You'd be even more excited for the main event. That's the only thing I can think.
Because then you got the Red Rooster.
Right. So this is throwaway, it's comedy stuff, and then get back to the real stuff. It's kind of like in the Attitude Era when they would have, say, The Rock versus Stone Cold, and then they would have like a bra and panties match, and then whoever.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Kurt Angle.
Those. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you put a throwaway in between just to kind of clear your palate.
Bad News Brown has a solid year and go into next year's WrestleMania, starting a feud with Roddy Piper. We know where that went.
Yeah.
Jim Duggan becomes the king of the WWF when he defeats King Haku. A few months later, he is defeated by Macho Man Randy Savage. Macho King. Yeah. Immediately after this match, the Red Rooster versus Bobby Heenan with Brooklyn Brawler. Come on.
Jack of all trades.
Out of all the members of Heenan's family, Brooklyn Brawler comes out. Why?
I guess he was just the only one who still had to work for his money that night. So
Okay.
everybody,
Like everybody else left the building. It's like, nah, man, I'm leaving. If you, whatever happens to you, I'm out. Way to go, family. Heena's bump still hurt him.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, Rooster, just hit me here, blah, 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 and pin me. That's it. We're done. He had a run. He ran to the other side of the ring, and that was it. You could tell he was hurting when he gave him a bump, and that was it. It was bad in a short match. And it's done. Then you see Miss Elizabeth interview, Randy Savage interview, Hulk Hogan interview.
Sherry.
All same damn Sherry. Like, why is she there?
Well, that was the setup, I guess.
The longest match of the night with 17 minutes. And all 17 minutes, I stayed glued. I watched all of it.
From bell to bell. Well, even from the entrances, just not the entrances.
The night before, Savage was hospitalized with an infected elbow, but checked himself out of the hospital in order to have this match. Is the reason Savage is heavily bandaged on his right elbow.
I actually did not know that.
I'm gonna give you this elbow drop and then sell the hell out of it because it hurts for real. This is the year Hulk Hogan feud with Macho Man up until SummerSlam, and even throughout the end of the year. SummerSlam though is when Zeus shows up from the No Holds Barred movie that Hogan starred in the year before.
Zeus, yeah.
Later that same year in September, Savage defeats Jim Duggan and dubs himself the Macho King. At the coronation, which was held by the genius Lanny Poffo, Savage's real-life brother, was given a scepter by Ted DiBiase, and we all know where that scepter ended up.
That's when he the Warrior.
Yeah, 2 years later.
Yeah.
We all know where it ended up.
Yeah.
It seemed just like so many times where it's like, oh yeah, it like cracks him across the skull. It's like, how are you not bleeding from that, man? Of course, Hogan is making movies during this time of the year. He's Gremlins 2 is coming out, the new batch. He's in a cameo for a few minutes only, but he's still champion.
Well, that match though was a very, first of all, just the fact top guys were facing each other was a huge deal back then. Now they do it a lot, but back then that was huge.
It was.
It was hard. And how do you pick Macho Man or Hogan? Because, at that time, they were basically both, up until that time, they were both obviously babyface. They were partners, Macho Man, Hulk Hogan. So, and then, so Macho Man was the champion, right? Hogan took because
he took the belt.
He took the belt from him. So that, but that was huge. But just the psychology of it, just all of it, like I said, from bell to bell, but even from entrance to bell was just huge. It was, even as a kid, it was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then to see, the athleticism of Macho Man versus the sheer size of Hogan. Even as a kid, like you knew that was an important match.
Both intros, always like the iconic moments. Macho Man's especially, and then Hulk Hogan's, which always gotta sing along to. I'm a real American. Yeah, that's gonna be the ending of this podcast.
Okay.
Definitely putting an ending on this one.
And the fact that, and I think Ventura pointed it out, the fact that even though Macho Man was the champion, they had him come out first, where normally you would have the champion come out second.
Right.
that's how big Hogan was. The fact that the champion still comes out first, even though he should come out second.
Yes, they do.
And I gotta say, back kid, you were supposed to be a Hogan fan. I was disappointed that Macho lost back then. You know, again, if you go back to it's all real.
Traitor.
I was upset. I was definitely a Macho Man fan over a Hogan fan back then.
Hogan rules. He know it.
So I was sad.
I know. Like, there were so many times during recess where I would just say, like, Hogan is the best.
Well, of course I was a fan.
Somebody else would say, no, Macho Man is. No, the Ultimate Warrior is.
Oh, God.
Well, the Ultimate Warrior got voodooed by Papa Shango.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. That was later on, but yeah.
Well, hey, during recess, during lunch, that's when they told, like, when I was told this, I was like, okay, when was this? It was like on Superstars.
Yeah, that was on it. But yeah, I was sad. I was sad when Macho Man lost. Even to I'm more of a Macho Man fan than a Hogan fan, even now. So.
Yeah. Also, another one in there would be Roddy Piper. Like the big five, Andre the Giant.
Yeah. I had a weird, I'm not going to say weird, but some of my most favorite wrestlers, even now, sometimes I'll say to people that, oh, I forgot about that guy. Like, I was a huge Texas Tornado fan. Like probably up there with, I would say, if I had to pick just real, I would say my favorite wrestlers are Bret Hart's number one. Nobody will ever be over Bret Hart. Bret Hart, Macho Man, Texas Tornado, Chris Benoit, and
Okay. Good.
Even though obviously they're not necessarily the best, but like I said, for me, those were my top favorite. You know,
not bad list. Okay, because I have a favorite too. Obviously, Bret Hart, Hogan,
yeah,
Randy Savage. What? Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And Roddy Piper. I'm sorry, no. Well, tied between Roddy Piper and Mr. Perfect.
Oh, Mr. Perfect, yeah. That's why it's hard to say, right? Because there's so many of them.
Mr. Perfect. Could only be Mr. Perfect was one of those that never held a belt, but no, he's still one of my favorites. Okay. Ready to rate it?
All right. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Rated by the card. The card was okay.
Yeah.
Like pretty stacked up. 14 matches. Some of them which were short, double DQ, a count out, 30 seconds. But it was pretty good. Not the way where it was placed, but it was pretty good.
I have to agree with that.
The roster seemed all big guys, of course. Like the roster was good. They would all stick around for a while, except for the Brainbusters, who ended up leaving that year to go back to WCW and the Four Horsemen. Bobby Heenan, Impact, company guy. All of them are company guys. All the managers are company guys. Like they stuck around.
Yeah.
What impact did it have on pop culture? It's like that last match.
Oh yeah, Macho versus Hogan.
Macho versus Hogan was like the talk of the freaking school. Everybody was like telling me like, yeah, you should have watched it. You should have seen it. Like, where do you guys watch it?
Well, even beyond wrestling though, guys were Macho were even at that time. People knew those names. They were like a Mike Tyson or a boxer or anybody. Like people would say, "Oh, Hogan's gonna have a match." Like it was. So.
Hey, is it rewatchable?
So,
yes, it is.
Absolutely, yeah. I've rewatched it many times. So.
Like this, the first time I watched it, like as many times. Because of the main event, of course. Like, okay, I'm gonna watch the entire show then, and I did. Like, and then the tag teams are all stacked.
Yeah, it's just fun. I think it's a fun atmosphere, fun everything. I just thought it was a fun show overall. So as far as the rating, I'm not gonna give it a perfect because where do you go? I have to give this one. I'm gonna have to give it a 8.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a 7. It's perfect. It's not perfect, but it's there. The fact that some matches were short, other matches were 30 seconds long, no DQ. Other matches were no DQ or ended up in a DQ or a double disqualification. I'm gonna say 7 because as I was looking forward for the main event, and then like I was fast forwarding through some of these matches. Like I don't remember this. Oh yeah, okay. Could care less about the Bushwhackers now. By the time I was just like, yeah, I'm a mark.
Yeah,
but now I'm just like, whatever. Okay, that was a weird moment. Would we take it to school? Recorded, yes.
Yeah.
Record it, take it the next day. Definitely watch it. Tell everybody to watch it. All your friends, like, yeah, hey guys, watch this videotape. You're gonna love it. And then, like, bring it back to me when you're done because it's gonna be a freaking 14 matches and after school. Nah, like a whole week. That whole week, you're just being like watching it and watching it and watching it again.
I do want to make one honorable mention.
Yes.
We cannot forget that Fuji, Master Fuji, Mr. Fuji, however you know him by, ran a 5K on the Atlantic in a suit.
In a suit, in this whole suit with his cane.
Exactly.
And Gorilla Monsoon still doesn't believe it to this day.
He doesn't, but
he never believed him.
He's not in the know like we are.
We know. And Gorilla's all like, he wasn't sweating. It's like he was sweating. Come on, you saw the red.
Black suit, you couldn't see the sweat. That's what it was.
Don't besmirch the name of Master Fuji here.
Exactly. Go away from the things that he's accomplished. We know. We as 7-8-year-olds, we know.
Greatest manager of all time. One of them.
One of him and Heenan and
Jimmy Hart.
Mouth of the Sun. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? We're good?
Yeah.
We've accomplished the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, and I just stayed awake. And I only called him Johnny times.
I'll put the Johnny Bravo soundbite in there.
Yeah, might as well. It's relatable.
It's relatable. That's all the time we have for tonight. We will be back next week with more WrestleMania moments discussion. Let's do WrestleMania 6.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Plus, it's a good segue to go with the I Hate Hulk Hogan intro that I'm doing, or not even that. Ugh. It's more like Hulk Hogan's a douchebag and he betrays all his best friends.
Oh, well, there you go.
So there's that trilogy, starting off with WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 5, and WrestleMania 6 when he faces the Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Challenge. By the time we get to WrestleMania 8, when he faces Sid Justice, another former friend. Oh, and then we get to WrestleMania 9 when he screws a friend in the back. Wow, he is just on a roll.
He was. Oh, that's like, wow, okay.
Like,
see all that as a kid, but wow.
Maybe he wasn't the good guy after all. Maybe he was. The whole NWO thing was in him
already.
Along.
Yeah. I think he was under. He was a heel. He was always a heel. He just
didn't
out front with it.
Yeah. So if you have another pay-per-view that you think we should watch and review, just like we did with St. Valentine's Day Massacre, let us know in the comments. Follow us on Twitter at All Things Pod. That's all_things_pod. Listen to us on Spotify or Anchor at All Things Wrestling. Check us out on Facebook groups at All Things Wrestling with the same logo. Gonna try to make an Instagram account as well as a Twitch account so you can watch us and listen to us there. Thank you for supporting our content and giving us a listen. Until next time, I'm Ernie and this is Michael.
All right. See you next time.